please make it live stream. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Good morning to all of you. This is our VSC Sunday regular class, Vivekananda Study Circle, IIT Madras. We'll discuss some ideas on this topic from loneliness to solitude. A very short, brief discussion of that. Because this is a topic which is now on the top of mind for many people, loneliness. When we see the dictionary, we see it is defined, loneliness is defined as not having any friends or company. Not having friends or company, and therefore feeling sad. This is the second part. Not having friends and company, and therefore feeling sad. So it is a pain of being alone. Now, this is a negative state of mind, and this person who has this negative state of mind, he may be surrounded by his friends and family and still feel lonely. So loneliness is not that he is alone in a forest. He is in his family, he is among his friends. But inside, because of a negative state of mind, he is feeling loneliness. This is the definition, understanding of loneliness. Why does this happen? There are many reasons for this. First will be because the person is disengaged from himself, from his inner self, you can say. How is this happening? There are so many ways in which it can happen. One can be because of intense desire, unfulfilled. So many desires, none of them have been fulfilled. So he is somewhere totally losing his self-worth, self-esteem, and he distances himself from what he thinks he is. Because experiences have told him that he is unworthy, he is unsuccessful, and nobody likes to be that. I am ugly, I am not good, nobody likes me. So he starts distancing himself from the person who he is. So when that begins, inside there is a continuous tussle, because he cannot go away from himself, but he doesn't like himself. Why he doesn't like? Because of so many bad experiences, maybe unfulfilled desires, and also strong aversions they have sometimes, likes and dislikes. It's a complex combination which makes the person hate himself. Without knowing, he will be disliking himself. And this is a cycle. Once he dislikes himself for whatever reason, outside circumstances, people, or his own desires being unfulfilled, remaining unfulfilled, what happens? He becomes like an enemy to himself, and he is bogged down by self-pity. Oh, I am so sorrowful. Oh, nobody understands my sorrow, my pain. And the blame is always on people outside and circumstances outside. And such a person, he starts craving for attention also. He is lonely, not by choice. People are around him, but he feels lonely. And to feel that loneliness, he continuously seeks attention. This again takes so many forms, like how a child seeks attention. There are volumes on this, how a child seeks attention. Similarly, grown-up people also, they seek attention. Sometimes the child comes and hugs the mother, keeps pulling at her, seeking attention. Or sometimes the child sits and cries loudly. Still mother doesn't give attention, then the child will start breaking the toys, throwing tantrums, rolling on the floor. All these are signs I want your attention. Grown up people also do this in a more, not so wildly like a child, in a different way, but they crave for attention. Maybe sometime when they're angry also they do this, that they will harm themselves. They will harm themselves to seek attention. So this is a kind of a mindset where they harm themselves just because they want other people's attention. It is a kind of intense selfishness. This loneliness, which begins and manifests like this, at the root is a kind of intense selfishness. I, my desires, my likes, my dislikes, how people are not meeting it, how I am not getting what I want, my right, I have a right for this. All these thoughts and words will come in their vocabulary and their thinking. Now, once they start distancing themselves from what they are, it is called self distancing. Once they start doing that, it will manifest outside as social distancing, not the kind which we are asked to practice now. Social distancing is not the correct word. There are many who have pointed it out. It should be physical distancing. Socially, we should not be distancing with people. Physical distancing is all that was needed and is needed still in this pandemic condition. But these people who suffer from loneliness, slowly they withdraw. Social distancing they practice automatically. Why all this happens? There will be some reasons we have discussed. One more very strong reason is because they have not discovered, or they don't have a clear idea of the purpose of life. What is the meaning of my life? When they don't have any clarity on this, then a kind of loneliness will come. And it becomes intolerable for them. And the more it becomes stronger, the more they hate people around them. It may be usually the family members, because they are the ones who accept. Friends will leave. If you start hating your friend, he will say, bye bye, I will not meet you again. Family members cannot do that. So, family members usually suffer from this kind of a behavior where that loneliness manifests as self hate and hating people around me. That is a mindset of loneliness. Now, loneliness can also come, as it has happened to some people now in this lockdown, when there is a sudden withdrawal from social life. We have seen in our campus, we were going around having meetings with friends, having chit chatting with friends, eating out, going to the cinema or playing in the fields. All that is suddenly curtailed for a good reason, for the good of all the society, those in the society. But still, I miss all those activities. We are now connected, as we are now doing through this technology. This kind of a connection still does not fulfill that physical connection. So many are feeling this loneliness because they say everything is now cut off. I am unable to mix with people, I am unable to shake hands with people, gossip and talk with people. How long can I talk over phone? It will not work. So a kind of loneliness is coming now. This is not a mental condition. This is more the result of a sudden change of life, lifestyle, life situation. These are circumstances beyond the control of any one of us. And it is not permanent, it is temporary, hopefully. It will end soon. But we have to face it, and we are going through it. And some are finding it difficult. This withdrawing, forced withdrawal from social interaction. The first few ideas which I shared, it is almost a psychological condition. Counselors are called in to treat them, and when it is extreme, it becomes extreme, then psychiatric intervention also is required. Now, that much about loneliness. Solitude is similar to loneliness, but totally different. Similar in the sense, I am alone, away from people, away from company, in seclusion, but I am not sad for that. The first person who is alone, away from people, away from company, is in seclusion, not maybe physically, inside he is in seclusion, and he is sad. Solitude, it also is away from company and people physically. It is not just mentally inside the mind. Physically also, some space is created. That space is between fellow human beings and myself. This is a very positive mind, a mind which deliberately seeks solitude, because there is a very deep purpose in solitude. There is a joy of being alone. And this joy comes because this person is happy with himself. If one is sad, disappointed, angry, disgusted with oneself, either because of physical reasons, I don't like my body, or because of the kind of mind I have, I am not intelligent, I am not smart, I don't score marks, which in fact is very stupid, because that is being decided by a system outside, which is a flawed system. Or I nobody likes me, whatever that is. That's a different kind of thing, which is called loneliness. Solitude is where a man is happy with himself, with what he is, which is body. He is happy. I am happy with what I have, and I am happy being what I am. Such a person can withdraw consciously, deliberately from fellow beings for a short time and seek solitude. And there is joy because he is happy with himself, and this solitude, being without any company, is joyful for him. Now, when he is happy with himself, this man will be happy with people also. And people are happy to be with him. They are joyful, cheerful. They will have same problems as those who are feeling lonely. The research problems may be same, life experiences, difficulties may be very similar. The man who is lonely, he makes a compound interest of it. But this man who is happy with himself, he says, I can handle it, because he is happy with himself. He is able to see a different approach to that. So solitude is that a man or woman seeks once in a while to be in touch with oneself at deeper levels. Mind you, first, it is a positive state of mind. I am basically okay with what I am. I am basically happy with what I have and what I am. Then the thought of solitude comes, because it adds a new dimension, gives more deeper understanding to life. In fact, I remember reading this quote from Nikola Tesla. I have taken it from the net. I don't know how correct it is, but it suits here. Nikola Tesla is quoted as saying, the mind is sharper and keener in seclusion and uninterrupted solitude. Originality thrives in seclusion, free from outside influences beating upon us to cripple the creative mind. Be alone. That is the secret of invention. Be alone. That is when ideas are born. This ability to be alone without feeling lonely, that is a primary need for a researching mind. A mind which says, I will do some research, I will find out some new insights, it should know I have to develop this power to be in solitude, be with myself. Being with myself is first. From that comes being with my ideas, my subject. First, I have to be happy with myself, and from that base, I can be happy with my subject. I and my subject. I'll just share some thoughts on how one can be in solitude. See how this appeals to you. First is, you know, this is something which has been done by our men and women for thousands of years. It is to seek the company of nature in the world outside. Whenever the mind is very disturbed, restless, you just experience, practice this. Go out and feel the nature. If you're in a big city like Chennai, difficult to see nature, it is all concrete. Still, if there is a small garden, you can connect with some plants, some trees in your garden. And if you look carefully, there is a wide variety of life in the garden, ants, bugs, what all. You just start observing life in the garden, you will see so much there. It is a universe in itself. So you start connecting with this nature which is around you. In yoga, they prescribe for going deep into the depths of nature, they advise to gaze into the infinite sky or to gaze out into what appears to be the infinite ocean. These two practices are advised. They say when you feel that you are becoming narrow in your mind, it is becoming very limited, and you can see that a narrow thinking is coming into me. To expand the mind, one of the practices is this: go out, maybe in the night, lie on the roof, gaze into the sky. Don't try to count the stars, don't do all that astrology. Just look into the infinite space in the sky. That is easier, anyone can do this. And if you are fortunate to live on a seashore or in a city like Chennai, go out and gaze into the ocean until that point where the sky seems to meet the ocean. Just look into that, what appears to be infinite. That huge space somehow seems to fill inside. And you will see, you will have a better perspective of your problems, whatever it is that is limiting you and caging you. You come out of that because you see that infinite thing and you say, my problems are not that really significant, or I don't have to allow them to imprison me. It is not made through thoughts, it happens when you go deep into nature like that. You can connect with water, you can connect with river. Anyone who after a long time has gone and had a bath in a river, you will see the difference in your mind. Because this body is made of panchabhutas: earth, water, fire, all are part of this human body. So when I go and connect with that water, when I connect with the earth, something happens here inside me. Especially when you take bath in a river, maybe even in the sea, you can feel there is a difference in you. You are feeling rejuvenated in one way. You can connect with plants and trees, maybe in your garden itself. For example, if you plant a sapling and see how life unfolds, you will be in company, but it is solitude also in a way. What is happening? You are getting in touch with nature. This body is nature, mind is also nature. But at the level of the body, when I try to connect with the outside world, I am away from this mind. Mind you, this topic of loneliness and solitude is all about mind, not body. Body doesn't experience that loneliness or solitude. It is the mind. We all live in our mind. We are what we think. As Swami Vivekananda says, you are what you think. So it is the thinking which makes whether one is lonely or one is enjoying the solitude. Outside looks same thing, no company, no people. But this man is feeling miserable, the other person is happy. So it is all in the mind. Now to break out of that kind of a loneliness and convert it into solitude, I have no choice now. I am in a pandemic situation and it is probably coming again, a second wave. So I am repeatedly being warned, keep distance, don't mix, don't socialize. So in this context, how do I convert this loneliness into solitude? I can connect with nature. We are not asked to do social distancing from nature. Nature as the infinite sky, nature as the garden behind me, or if it is a campus like IIT, There is nature. You step out and you are in nature. 600 acres of nature. How do I connect with that? And there it is again, what do I particularly connect with? A sapling, a small plant. I see how it grows. Then this nature is not just outside, it is in my body also. It has manifest as my body. So I can connect with my body. Immediately it makes a difference to the mind. When I try to connect with my body, what do we mean connect with the body? It is being aware of the body. Now you are listening to me, hopefully. Are you aware of your body? How your body is sitting? What is your posture? Just see your body. You will see. Just close your eyes and see your body. How you're sitting. Is there a tension somewhere? Maybe at the hips, maybe in the shoulders, maybe in the neck. Maybe the posture is not correct. Yeah, now you probably, most of you will have made some adjustments to your body posture. You are aware of the body. Body is nature. So when I am aware of the body, I am in a kind of solitude which helps me to connect with nature. You see, solitude is about connecting. It is communion, is another word we can use. I commune, I connect with nature. Solitude is not simply I am alone, because that aloneness is loneliness, which is sadness. Solitude is I am without company, but I am not alone. How is it? You are without company and not alone? I am without company, but I am connecting with nature. First, outside nature. Second, nature which has manifested as this body. And then I can seek the company of the inner voice. Seeking the company of my inner voice. It is a fascinating journey to know the inner voice. There is a voice speaking in all of our minds. Continuously it is speaking non-stop. Even in dream, that voice is playing out so many roles. Continuous, you see yourself speaking in your dream. You listen to other people speaking in your dream. It's all created by the mind. And these are not memories that you have remembering from what you saw outside. It is created by the mind. The whole situation, unknown people, unknown circumstances, unknown landscape. You have never seen such places, and it is you're seeing it in your mind's eye, in your dream. That is the creative power of the mind. Now, in that creative power, there is this ability to listen to itself. So once in a while, you can try to be in the company of your mind. What is this point? This point is solitude as being in company with nature. Nature outside, nature as body, and nature as that inner voice. Can I be in company with my inner voice? First, I have to discover it, and then comes being in company with it. If you are able to do that, then you can also try seeking the I, seeking that sense of I. There is an inner voice, I'm trying to listen to it. I trying to listen to it. Who is this I? Who is this I? It is like a searchlight which is turned inside so that I can see, I can perceive this I. It is a wordless perception. There are no words for that perception. It is just an awareness. I witnessing something. I listening to the mind. That is intense solitude. Another way which we can do this is to live in the present moment. In fact, this is a very definite way of connecting, going into solitude. What is that? To live in the present moment. Because you may go and do gardening and you may be thinking something else. A lonely person can do gardening, but he will not be connecting with that work. So this can be seen as fundamental for going into solitude. What is that? To live in the present. To live in the present means to very strictly give up wishful thinking, or what is called daydreaming. When the mind gets into the habit of daydreaming or wishful thinking, it is because it is unhappy with the present circumstances, people around me, situations around me, my body, my gains, what I have done or not done. I am not ready to accept it. This non acceptance makes me to imagine something which is not there. It is called wishful thinking or daydreaming. Now, if one is caught in this cycle of daydreaming, it becomes a habit, very difficult to break that. Even when he is having a real challenge on hand, the mind will pull away and go into daydreaming, wishful, imaginary thinking. What is not true, it will start imagining and live in that imaginary world, refusing to live in the real world outside. When this happens, that person suffers from loneliness. Outside, he has a lot of work, responsibility, but his mind withdraws into that imaginary world. And that imaginary world he is going because he is unable to connect with the life outside. The solution for that is to live in the present and mercilessly cut off this wishful thinking. Remember, we have discussed earlier, imagination is more powerful than willpower. And this imagination, if it is not properly controlled and channeled, it will become a mind filled with wishful thinking, refusing to see reality, engage with reality, especially when it is a challenging reality. And without engaging with a challenging reality, life does not manifest. Remember that quote of Swami Vivekananda: life is the unfoldment and development of a being under circumstances tending to press it down. So circumstances will press me down. And if my mind is in a negative mode of hugging loneliness, life will not manifest. To help life manifest through me, I have to hug the present moment. This is also called mindfulness, especially in Buddhist practice and Vipassana practice. They teach this mindfulness. What is that? You will remain in the present, in this present moment. What does it mean again to remain in the present moment? What I need something to hold on, you see, and that something will be the purpose of my life. For me, as a research scholar, it will be my research work. That is the purpose of my life for now. And I hold on to that. What gives me the strength to hold on to this work which I am doing? It may be any work. What gives me the strength? The strength comes from the idea of contribution. The purpose behind my work is to contribute. It is a very powerful thought and feeling. If I have this, that I am doing this work, it is a contribution. It is to contribute. Just this one thought, that I am doing this as a contribution, it helps me to hold on to that work and stay rooted in the present tense. Those who find their work is meaningless can come even when you see there is a lot of money in it. If I'm doing research or if I'm doing some work just for the money that I get from it, that work soon becomes meaningless for me, because that meaning is determined by money. People may do that, but they will not be happy inside. There will be always a sense of emptiness. Loneliness may not be there. Another form of loneliness is emptiness. That will fill them. And to fill that emptiness, they will go on buying things, eating. Even when they are not hungry, they'll go on eating. They'll go on buying things. They'll go on roaming around because they feel empty inside. There is another form of loneliness. This comes despite having a lot of money in hand. Why? Because the work they are doing, they are unable to connect with it. They may be doing good work also, maybe some excellence also is achieved, but the deeper level of connection is not there. What is the deeper level of connection? To see how it contributes to my fellow human beings, my society, this world. It is that final element. How am I contributing through my work? Once I see that my work is contributing something, money may be less or more, but I have a deep sense of fulfillment. And that gives me the strength to be engaged in work and experience a kind of solitude. Physical solitude we cannot have every now and then. Maybe at the weekend or once in a month, I may take time off, go hiking, trekking, or just stay by myself in nature, not in room. That will not be easy for everyone unless one is very peaceful inside. Staying in room can become very boring, and they either sleep off or binge watch on movies because they can't stay with themselves. The mind needs some engagement. But when you go out and connect with nature, it is possible to do that. That kind of solitude where you experience a connection with life. This is the benefit of solitude. There is a flow in life, a continuous flow of energy. And when I go into solitude, solitude in the company of nature outside, solitude in the company of myself, my body, my energy, my mind as that inner voice, and that ego, that individuality which says I. When I go into the company, solitude is seeking company here. Solitude is not loneliness, it is seeking company. Company what? With nature. What for? To be part of the flow of nature. Then what happens? As Tesla says, ideas will come. Creativity will blossom. Creativity doesn't blossom in an empty mind. It is there. All ideas are there inside. Swamiji says, all knowledge is within. It has to be awakened. The tool for awakening that is solitude. What is solitude? It is communion with nature. Because the secrets are all here in the nature, and I am part of this nature. When I discover my oneness with nature, then a deeper mind awakens inside. I connect with the universal mind. There is my mind, an individual small mind, and there is a universal mind. That universal mind, you can say it is like an internet. Once I plug in, I have access to all thoughts across the world which is put on the internet. Similarly, there is a universal mind which I can connect through. I can connect to through the nature around me, within me. When I do that, I am in solitude, in connection with nature. That is the flow of nature. That's where life will start manifesting. Mind you, life is about manifestation. How it will manifest will depend upon the kind of connection I have with life. I am lonely when I have no connection outside, and I am connected with a negative loop of mind. A negative loop which is born of selfishness, intense selfishness. I and mine, my need, my difficulties, my likes and dislikes. A negative loop. That negative loop cuts me off from nature, and then that mind starts festering like a wound. Many people commit suicide. They cannot live with themselves. I can't live with myself, so I'll die. They commit suicide. That is the extreme case. Many who say I can't live with myself, they'll go and seek a wrong company, or they'll just go and engage themselves in some kind of movie or doing something which does not actually benefit them. For that moment, it may look like an engagement, but nothing deep comes out of that because it is not contribution. There's nothing being contributed. I watch 2 movies a day because I'm feeling lonely. Nothing has been contributed to the world. I continue to come out more lonely. And next day, I seek hanker for that. I need to watch it again, that YouTube or cinema or something. It becomes a habit. That is a mindset which will be totally cut off from creativity. It starts seeing creativity initially, appreciating, and then it loses that capacity to see, identify creative power also. Oh, it is a wonderful thing. What a creative art has been done. That capacity also goes out once it simply starts receiving, seeing. Creativity blossoms only when I participate in life. This passive participants is not going to bring that creativity out of me. Creativity will come when I engage with it positively. And that positive engagement we can call solitude. Yes, when I now and then I'll have to discuss with my colleagues, with my friends, generate ideas. But I have to discover what it is that I can contribute. And that will come when I am with myself, when I am with nature. Nature can give me ideas. It may be an apple falling on my head. So many people had an apple falling on their head. But one man said, "Why did this fall on my head? Why did it not fly away into the sky?" And then he says, "Oh, there is something called gravitation." Now, when I connect with nature, I can see ideas. It is a communion with nature. That is the kind of solitude we need to see. In spiritual life, Sri Ramakrishna would recommend householder devotees to go into solitude now and then. He would strongly recommend this. He would say, "You see, you cannot continuously live in samsara. Samsara is family life. If you do that, you don't have any space for your own thinking. You're continuously bombarded with other people's thoughts. And if it is, some of them are negative minds, like who suffer from loneliness, which manifests as irritation, too much demands on your time, and things like that, your creativity is never allowed to come out because you are continuously firefighting, putting out someone's misery, or helping them to satisfy their selfish needs. Your creativity is lost. So, in spiritual life, the creativity is in the form of connecting with God. God not sitting somewhere in heaven, God who is within me as the Atman. So he would say, at least one day, withdraw from this world. Withdraw from this world for a day. You don't have to go into the forest. Wherever you are, just cut off yourself for a day and see, can you commune with yourself? 3 days is very good. 15 days, even good. 1 month, very good. Recently, one editor of a big magazine, I called her. She sent me a WhatsApp message. She said, "Thursdays, I observe Maunam. I will speak with you tomorrow." I was surprised. Editor of a very big magazine and observing one day, it's a family life, running a big family, and still observing one day as Maunam. I will not talk. Gandhi used to do that, Mahatma Gandhi. Mondays, he would observe Maunam. Many people observe this. Sometimes they say half a day in a week, I cut off from any kind of communication with people. I know someone who says once a week he is away from his mobile. Myself and both for the purpose of contributing to society, contributing to the good of the world. So this way, we can move away from loneliness. There are cases where loneliness will require, as I said earlier, attention of a medical profession, psychologist or psychiatrist. Most of us are not in that condition. So it doesn't have to be directly treated. There is no medicine for treating loneliness unless you are medically requiring the treatment. What we need to do is choose solitude. Then loneliness is given up. If you don't choose solitude, then those who have this problem, they will experience loneliness. Even healthy people in these conditions will feel lonely. So one way out of that is to consciously choose and seek solitude. Solitude in the company of nature, solitude in the company of myself, solitude in the company of God. If you are a believer of God, you are having higher aspirations to discover the truth about yourself, that is solitude with God. What Sri Ramakrishna would recommend was that, solitude with God. What do you do when you withdraw from your family for a day or 3 days or a week or a fortnight? He would say, with all the strength of your heart, pray to God. Pray to God. It is not simply sitting and reading some scriptures, because again, you are intellectually engaging. It is not from the heart. Solitude, communion with nature is not through intellect. It is from the heart. Through intellect, you don't commune. You understand things, that's all. When you are talking about communion, it is always from the heart. So when you commune with God from your heart, that is called prayer. It is not a scriptural kind of understanding. It is a prayer from the heart. Prayer is always from the heart. So Sri Ramakrishna's advice was, go into solitude, pray to the Lord. What will you pray? That depends on what you want. There are people who pray for coming out of misery. They are having some problem. They want to come out of it. There are people who pray because they want abhyudaya. They want prosperity. They pray to God for that. Let my business grow. Let me get good marks. Let my daughter have a good husband. Things like that. Then there are those who pray to God because they want to discover the truth. Jignasu is called. What is the truth? Are you there? That's the question Swami Vivekananda had. Have you seen God? If God is there, someone must have seen it. Have you seen God? So that is the Jignasu. He seeks communion with God to know the truth. And then there is the Gnani who has perfectly established his relationship with himself, with his divinity, which is God. And he seeks that inner company automatically. It's not that he seeks, he's always in that company. So there are four kinds of people who seek God. So when I go into solitude, I seek this company of God. That is the highest kind of solitude, highest kind of communion with nature. That will help us to discover different layers of our own dimension, come out with deeper levels of energy, thought, intuition, whatever you call that, which will come as a blessing, manifest as a blessing to the world outside. All this can be done through solitude. But we have to seek it with a prepared mind. And it is possible and probably also very healthy. And in this present kind of circumstances, easy also. Nobody will question you. Why you didn't contact me yesterday? You can withdraw for a day easily. Cut off first from the media, then commune with nature outside. Don't begin directly trying to commune with God because it requires a kind of preparation. First, commune with nature outside. Can you spend one day communing with maybe a plant, with some water body, with some trees, communing with the space outside at night, somewhere connect with nature outside. Then, once you do a little bit of the practice, connect with nature and manifest as your body, your energy, your inner voice, that ego which has manifested as I consciousness, connect with that. Then connect with Lord. Seek the company of the Lord, the divinity within. Remember the definition of Swami Vivekananda? Man is a compound of animality, humanity, divinity. Man is a compound of animality, humanity, and divinity. Pashutva, Manushatva, Daivatva. These three combined is what we call a human being. Pashutva, Manushatva, Daivatva. I have to discover that divinity. You don't like the word divinity, use anything else you want, consciousness or whatever it is. My true self, simple words, my true self. That as consciousness I have to discover. That all scriptures say is the highest purpose of life. The highest purpose of life is to discover who I am or what I am. That will be possible in solitude, not in the marketplace. Once you achieve that solitude, then you be in a marketplace, you will still be in solitude. There will be everyone around you, but you don't feel sad that you are not connecting with them. When you want to connect, it is not like the person who is lonely. All people are around, but inside he is lonely, he is unhappy, he is sad, he wants to end his life. One who has established himself in communion with nature, with God, he, whenever he wants, he will connect with people. And when he doesn't connect, or when he is connected, both times, he is having an inner flow of bliss. That bliss will manifest outside as peace, love, forgiveness. Now that's a wonderful way of living. It makes life pleasant for us and for people around us. And if more and more people develop this capacity to live in solitude now and then, until it becomes a natural state of living, then that society is a blessed society. Our responsibility as a little enlightened students, little enlightened citizens, is to contribute to this kind of a society where we live with that power of solitude inside, communing inside and communicating that peace outside. So two things happen in that state of solitude. I commune with nature within and I communicate it outside as peace, forgiveness, love. I've shared some thoughts. Please reflect on it. These are simple thoughts, but life is itself simple. People like to make it complicated. They think, unless I read all the scriptures, unless I have all the answers, I'll not have peace of mind. You may answer 50 questions, but that mind which raised those 50 questions and which has now been satisfactorily answered will come back in a fortnight with another set of 50 questions. So I have to discover who is this who is asking the questions. And there is no end to questions in life. I have to discover that which is question. Ideas bubble. Ideas will bubble up. Creative ideas will bubble up. And there will also be peace inside, manifesting outside also.